You have so many incredible projects dropping in December. It's just so different from the next. As an actor, what is it that you look for in a script, and what was it about Ruthless that resonated with you?
This is the first action lead that I've ever played. So
Hmm.
I jumped at the chance. I would have done it with a movie not even as good as this, but this movie's got really true to life scenario, characters. It's got a really rough, gnarly feel to it. And it was all conceived of and created by Art Camacho, who the minute I met him, I knew this was the person to help me break in. So with his leadership and tutelage, literally, we pulled off a great trick here, where I get to play a regular guy who has to rise
Hmm.
to the occasion.
Your character is struggling with the grief after losing his daughter, and it leads him down this road where he wants to ensure that nobody else has to experience something similar, which you brought so much nuance to. As an actor, how did you create the space for yourself to tackle that vulnerable space where your character is at the start of the film?
Well, really, again, art used me so beautifully in that scene, in ways that I'm not even sure I was aware of some of that they were shooting, and it winds up being so touching. You see the aftermath of losing his daughter from a brutal attack, and so when he sees one of his students in trouble, he ill-advisedly goes to that home and winds up getting into it with the mother's boyfriend who's brutalizing her. So that's the beginning of you can see what drives him to be using methods off the grid. But then he discovers that she's even in worse trouble and when she's abducted and taken out of the state. So he's got to go track her down and make right.
A lot of unexpected humor in the film, which was such a pleasant surprise, particularly when it comes to that dynamic between your character and Melissa's. Was that originally in the script, or was that something that you both helped bring to life after your cast?
Yeah, we definitely added or enhanced some of that. Melissa Diaz-Rey plays the lead part, and comes into that role in such a unique way as a female wrestler in high school. So that's why we have a connection at all. But then maybe my past is what makes me, really connect to her troubles. But in the vein of action thrillers like this, Art Camacho, once again, I go to him. He knew what we were after. So yes, much of that was in the script. Much of that he and I brought into some of the action scenes, and Melissa's personality just opened up a lot of those other scenes. So that you see a kid trying to be a little bit tough, but you know that the situation is a lot tougher than she can handle.
It's great. And the violence in the film feels like the perfect metaphor for the internal struggles that your character is going through. How did that physicality allow you to further tap into your character? And what was that prep work like?
Thank you. Well, your amazing questions. Thank you. The physicality, we were on the fly this whole thing. I'm keeping regular fit condition, but then also I'm fighting every day, or at least some action type of thing, or it's long hours. So getting up early and working really hard. So that winds up, you're on kind of a metabolism through the whole thing. So once we get to some of those scenes, obviously I'm with the best fight choreographer I can imagine, and as part of the Art Camacho experiment, I knew that I could do what he told me to do. That's
Mm.
how I did it. But certain other things just kind of became um, authentic to it. Why we got into zip ties on that one guy and got it up up against the banister railing of the house. Um, those things, it's almost you experience them on the fly. I know what Art wants, and the stunt crew's there, but then sometimes, especially because those characters are so based in real, um that's why any kind of, even if the action is a little exaggerated, it might have humor in it. That's why it works, because the stakes are high and that the
Yeah.
characters are real. There's not any kind of like superhero feel or exaggerated circumstances. The way Art shot it is down and dirty. It's on street level, so it's like it could happen to you. And then
Mm.
the gets taken to Las Vegas and taken into a ring where girls are being abused. So it's just unimaginably horrifying. But you're experiencing it, knowing that something's going to be done about it, so it's all around. All the facets of this movie fall into a place for really entertaining but serious throw at a real bone breaking brawler. I love Ruthless. I'm so thrilled to have a part like this to play, where the action's really supported by a real strong character.
Yeah, it's very grounded and it's the ordinary hero. And you've already touched upon this, but Art co-wrote and directed this film. Is the film experience different when the person who's helped create the universe and these characters is also at the helm directing? What was that collaboration like?
Yes, it's wonderful. This script came to me in yeah. Art seemed to have the whole thing in mind and then approaches it so calmly and like really like a sensei. If I could describe to you how tense filmmaking can become, and then you see this whirlwind. It's all managed and great. The ADs, everybody did an incredible job, and under control. But then in the center of that, there's Art Camacho, who just knows how it's done. And so I really leaned on him, and I knew that from the minute I first met him, that we were like and like. And we remain that way today. So that doesn't always happen, but some of that soul comes in, and really Art's a holy person too, so there's no there's yeah, it's hard to describe, but if you're sensing something a little greater than your average toss-off, a fight movie, you're right. And that's Art's spirit and his ability and the level of his training is just an amazing experience all around. So I hope we go around again. Obviously, we're already
Yeah, we
trying
should.
to get other stuff to go, and but he gave me a gift of a career, really, especially at this time, at this
Mm,
turn, this age, to hand me the reins of a lead part that meant something, and then also had the fun and the prove yourself scenes in the fight scenes. Man, I'm so quick in some of that fighting. I wish I'd slowed it down so it's more enjoyable. But a couple of left hooks on that guy on that
mm.
forklift near the end. Wow, so proud of some of that motion, some of that athleticism. I give all of that to Art.
Yeah, the fight scenes are absolutely brutal to watch in the best
Yeah.
possible way. And you touched upon this earlier as well, but you've worked on projects of all sizes. What is it about independent filmmaking that excites you as a creative and a storyteller?
Yeah. Well, thanks, but I want to touch on the fight too, because I noticed in the movie there's very little gunplay, and
Yeah.
in this day and age, I was really happy to have an important movie where violence is depicted so that you can overcome it and solve it. But it was more about the fist, so it's just nice. Sometimes I'll go on a set, they hand me a gun so safely. There's no, I don't even mean to make that sound casual, but in the role, you don't even stop to think about what using a weapon like that can mean, how it just kind of falls into the big bin of gunplay on film. So this is nice to have a little relief from that, to be
Mm.
honest. And then you asked another really good question. Sorry, Kevin, will you remind me?
Oh, what is it just about independent filmmaking that excites you as a creative and a storyteller?
Well, more than excites me, independent films are the only ones that would have me for a certain amount
Mm.
of time and spotty here and there. So that's my playground. That's my bread and butter, to be honest with you. So I'm in for the run. And what's amazing is to ride it out, because I didn't work as much for a while because they weren't making indie films where I had a better shot at having a challenging role or an important role in the
Mm.
story, even if it's small, or something that would enhance my a character that I was drawn to. So, but now doesn't it feel like we're swinging back a little bit to where movies just with a one-off storyline that are maybe just adult, interesting films are coming
Yeah.
actually to be seen in theaters? So that's certainly happening in Los Angeles. A couple of new theaters have opened, not megaplexes, like homegrown theaters. So
Mm.
I'm going to keep supplying those movies, and hopefully Ruthless, I'll tell you, even briefly, not my call, but it's in theaters, theater release in Russia and other Eastern European countries. So movies like that could play that way. It says a lot about Ruthless that they would want me
Yeah.
on the poster in a foreign market. So I was thrilled about that. But who knows how people are going to watch is going to go. But right now you can get a lot of different types of movies. And I like being in all of them. So it's been really fun, even with these slowdowns, with our, social health issue and then our labor issue. Really want everyone wants to get back to work hard, and I want to work
Mm.
with best as I have before in the past and with my friends and all that. So let's hit the ground running in 2024. That's our plan.